What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? And we just got a few hours ago. We just got confirmation of the banners for the first phase of 5.4. And what the hell is this? So today's video, usually I do like a breakdown of the characters and when I'm appearing. But after looking at this banner, including the weapon banner, I am probably just gonna give my honest opinion on why you should probably skip this patch. At least this phase, right? I think that generally, I think that players should probably save their primo gems and probably spend them on like at least the second phase or even the upcoming patches. So yeah, you know what? Let's get this video started. All right, so I'm just gonna be playing background of the in the background I'll probably playing the Mizuki, the live stream stuff. But basically Mizuki, animal catalyst character. She does support, she does heal, she can be used as a driver. Her healing is based on her elemental mastery, which I think is something that we've seen earlier with Silali, because Silali has her shield based on EM. Generally, what she does is that she does boost swirl damage, and her skill allows her to enter into this state called the Dream Drifter state, which allows her to float and move around, as you've seen on the screen right here. More importantly, this period is pretty short, but can be extended when you do swirl. And as mentioned, the more swirl you do, the more damage you are outputting. Generally, I think that here's the thing about Mizuki, she's standard, which means that more often than not, you could probably get her eventually either by losing your 50-50 or if you were to pick her on the anniversary 5-star selector or in any 5-star selector, because she's going to the standard in 5.5. But at current times, like how is she? I think that she also doesn't really fill in a gap that is needed. Granted, yes, she probably will be the biggest swirl increaser in the game, but we already do have animal healers in the game like Xiangling, like Jean, like Sayu, that can also do pretty good numbers. And for swirl characters, you also have Sucrose and even Lan Yuan as well. So generally, she's going into a market that's very, very contested. And I do not think that she kind of stands out. Like, granted, maybe she like I mentioned, like she probably has good swirl damage numbers, but is that really justifiable to pull your resources for her when you could probably pull a character that is going to bring out more to your team in general? Because you're not going to play swirl in every team, but why not pull a Farina who's going to improve like your team in almost every facet? So funny because Farina's right here. But yeah, so that's really my thing about her. Her burst does do healing as well. It's basically like this thing where if you're above, you basically have snacks on the floor. If you're above a certain health threshold, you do damage. If you're below it, you heal. So that's kind of it. Kind of a summary of what my thoughts on Mizuki. I think that she, as mentioned, is going to a market where it's not going to really benefit her, or not really benefit her. She doesn't stand out that much, basically. And before I move on to Sigewinne as well, obviously if you like these characters, please go ahead. But I think I'm mainly just making this video to mainly for players who really want to make use of their limited resources as optimally as possible. And then going on to Sigewinne, granted I had to actually relearn her kit because I totally forgot what she does. But basically, hydro bow character scales off HP. The thing about her is that she her healing, she does have this bowstring balm, right, which basically bounces. It's basically a bubble that bounces, and it will restore HP to everyone except for Sigewinne, and that's based on her health. And then at the end of it, she will heal herself and everyone. So she is a pretty good team healer, which is pretty nice. But the one thing about her is that I really don't know about this, right? Is that she doesn't have the best hydro application. Like as mentioned, like pretty good healing, but doesn't have the best hydro application. So there's hardly any time when you kind of run her as the solo hydro character as compared to a character like Xingqiu, Yelan, Furina, for example. The whole version does extend it, and then weaker enemies can get imprisoned. So you know how those annoying hydro mages, they like to trap you. Now you can do it back to them. Now here's the one thing about Sigewinne's kit, where she's able to drop source water droplets, right? And then whenever she gains them, she'll gain 10% of her max HP as Bond of Life. So in this case, 2, that means it's 20%. And every time you clear it, you gain elemental energy up to 5 for whatever you have cleared. So in this case, you generally want to have well, I can't do the math right now. 10k, so you want about 50k HP, if my math is correct, because this is basically 10k. You want to clear 10k HP, and that 10k HP is worth 20% of a max health. So that 50k, around 50k, right? So yeah. Now if you use the burst, you collect it automatically, which is similar to Neuvillette charge attack, where if you charge attack with source water droplets, he's going to absorb it immediately. And that does pretty decent damage. 2.5%, which when tied into her first talent, does do decent damage. But here's my problem with Sigewinne. I think that Sigewinne, her kit kind of wants her to be off field, right? You want to put the bubble and then bounce and everything, but then her burst, although it's 2.5 seconds, you had to spend the 2.5 seconds on field, right? And I think that that's kind of weird. So I think that mostly if you look at Sigewinne's kit, it's kind of like a mismatch of everything, like from a damage dealer to a healer and stuff like that. But she doesn't really like excel. And you know what? She might have good healing for characters like Furina and Neuvillette. But generally, I don't think, and like in my opinion, I prefer characters who are able to do many things for many characters. You know, like I would, like, for example, I talked about Furina before, right? We talked about Shenhe. Like, why pull for Shenhe when you want to pull for? We can pull for Furina, and my thing is the same as well for Sigewinne. There's so many good healers out there, right? That can fit into more roles, can fit into more team comps, into more archetypes. And I don't think that a niche healer is something that players should desire for. So yeah, that's really my take on Sigewinne. Obviously, I may have missed out something because I am not really that well versed into her. And obviously, you pull constellations, she might get a lot better. But I think that, you know, I don't really think it's worth it. And you know, let's just briefly talk about the 4 stars. Xiangling will probably be the shortest about it. Xiangling C3, C4, pretty good. From there onwards, everything gets better. C1, C2 kind of but you know, from there onwards, Xiangling gets a lot better. Obviously, Pyroneedle is her bread and butter. You want to have enough energy for her. But the good thing about this is that it has a very decent AoE and also has no ICDs, which means that it's basically short for saying that there's no cooldown period between reactions like melt and vaporize. Now let's go on to Gorou. I think Gorou's interesting for a few reasons. Because usually he's tied to the hip of Ito. This is the first time I think that he's not running alongside him, which I think is quite interesting. You know, maybe this is Genshin or the Hoyo devs setting up for Chronicle Wish for Inazuma characters. But basically, you know, it's a good, decent geo support. He does get better with constellations, you know, get better healing. He does get better support to his team, right? Increasing the crit and the geo damage, and so on and so forth. So, my main problem with Gorou is that I think that with the rise of Shilonen, even Ito himself is moving away from mono geo teams, where the team of Ito, Shilonen, Furina, and Yelan is getting a lot more popular. So yeah, I think that Gorou, I think is a little bit of a weird situation. I do not know how he works well, how well he works with a character like Chiori. Or maybe those players who are more versed in Chiori can let me know. But last but not least, another Inazuma character, Sayu. Sayu I think is interesting because Sayu, I think the C1 makes her a pretty decent healer, especially for arena teams. Generally, without the C1, you have a 70% cap, which is the same as Bennett, where if you're below 70%, you'll heal, but other than that, you don't really heal. So yeah, I think it's something that can be improved upon. Not improve, like obviously she needs constellations, and she's not, and I know she's not saying that she's like the best character in the game, but I think that a lot of people just like dump her away, because she's a 4-star and stuff like that. But I think that she does have some decent utility in certain team comps. She can be used in Farina teams, she can be used in Taser teams as well. So what, I think that can be pretty interesting. Also, because she's animal, she can hold the Veridescent Venera set as well. So yeah, that's kind of my brief talk about the 3 stars. Not the 3 stars, sorry, the 4 stars. Looking at the weapon banner, so these are the so let's talk about the new weapons first, which first and foremost is the Catalyst Sunny Morning Slip-In, which is the signature for Mizuki. A lot of EM, also increases EM and trigger swirl, and then when you use the skill and the burst, you also get additional EM as well. Besides her, she get the first part kind of useless for a character like Silali, but for the second and third part, it actually can be pretty decent if you manage to get this weapon. One thing to take note is that just like the Hunter's Path and the beacon for Tainari and Dea, you will probably not see this for a long time. So yeah. But anyways, going back to this, it's pretty decent, but I wouldn't pull it just for those characters. I think there are decent alternatives, like for Sucrose. Like Sucrose actually makes use of this very, very well, but like there are definitely other options to use with a character like Sucrose. And then the other one, which is the Polam that I'm not going to pronounce, decent attack stat, ER, increases attack. I believe at R5 it is like 40%, and movement speed by 10%. In my opinion, if this was attack speed, I think it would be a lot more decent, because I don't think movement speed really helps out that much for most characters. If it was attack speed, I think I'll be a little bit more hyped. But yeah, going back to the signature weapons, the last one, I had to put this here because I totally forgot, which is the Silver Shower Heartstrings, which is Sigewinne's weapon. Basically gives you a lot of HP, 66.2%, and the passive, basically if you trigger its conditions, you can get up to 100% bonus, which is actually pretty insane. But generally, it's not really a weapon that you'll pick. You can for Sigewinne, sometimes you can probably go with an ER weapon as well. And last but not least, I think the 4 stars are pretty I think the 3 weapons from the Moon's Moon, the Akomaru, and the Wavebreaker Fin, pretty decent at R5, especially for characters that are very burst reliant. But I do not like the Flute. I do not like the Eye of Perception. I think Eye of Perception worst weapon in the game by far. Like literally play with 3-star weapons rather than this dog crap. Okay. So yeah, I think generally what I think about the first phase, I think it's absolutely bad. I think this may be the lowest selling banner that Genshin has ever come out with. I don't think Sigewinne was a very popular character on release. I don't think that Mizuki, especially because she's standard, is going to be that popular as well. Yeah, and I think that generally that's how it is. Honestly, it's not really the best banners. Even the 4-star lineup is pretty weak. The weapon lineup is pretty weak. There isn't a lot of positives. So I think that the general thing is skip. Yeah, just skip. Very, very simple. There's nothing else to say about this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy saving your Primo Gems and wait for Farina or Risley. I'll see you guys now. Just kidding. Let me know if there's anything I left in the I have left out. Obviously, I'm not very familiar with Sigewinne's kit, but in my opinion, I think that there are definitely characters that fill in a bigger role in your roster than her. I think she's too niche, and the same goes with Mizuki as well. Although I think the Mizuki is a little bit more of a like it's a more thought out kit than Sigewinne's, but I do not think that she's gonna be worth the Primo Gems. And as I mentioned, you probably save it for a better character. So that's about it. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Do let me know what you think. Do also know that I stream live on Twitch. Link down the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to yourselves and the people around you. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.